Godspeed. Sit in the back garden in the sun and drink beer and not think about our problems.
Hi, my name is Melissa and I'm a professional soul singer. Today we're going to be discovering
around the bay, they got some crazy.
Hello my dude, how are you? Tell me, have you had the chance to chill? Just lay out, have a beer. Well, if you haven't, this is your sign to do so, but not before you watch my video.
Now here's a film that will turn you into a vicious, soulless killer.
Welcome back to another Soul Singer Discovers. I don't know why I said that like a pirate, but I did. Unfortunately, with a Scottish accent, occasionally you accidentally sound like a pirate.
Aye, aye, Captain.
Today on Soul Singer Discovers, we're going to be returning to Thin Lizzy. But before we do, here's another Metalhead Musings. Today's Metalhead Musings comes from one of my regular commenters. I do have a collection. Here's the thing, right? If you comment enough, I will eventually remember your name. So I always remember John, I remember Frank, I remember Photophobic Martin, Millicent Oak, I remember Scotty, I remember, God, it's so many of you. If you comment often enough, we will become friends. I will force you, I will hunt you down. But of course, with being someone's friend means you get away with a lot more cheeky comments. So in one of my previous double videos where I did 2 Judas Priest songs in one video, I left a small space in the middle of said video for you to pause so you could go to the toilet. John Carpenter said, I don't pause when I go to the toilet, I'll just bring you with me. That's f***ing gross, John. The truth of the matter is, some of you might well be watching right now on the toilet. I've come to the conclusion is that it's got to be a percentage of you who are currently on the toilet. Godspeed. Get off the toilet, okay? Also, I don't want you to start associating me with going for a jobby. Moving on. We did do Thin Lizzy before. We did Dancing in the Moonlight. It was Patron's Choice. And I had a gay old time watching it. It was very nostalgic for me. And I realised that I definitely heard Dancing in the Moonlight before. And it was just a wonderful moment of, I'm sure some of you have experienced it before, where you hear a song that you haven't heard in years, decades even. And then you hear it and all of a sudden, it all comes rushing back to you. Today is another Patron's Choice. Today's Patron's Choice comes from Chris. Oh, Chris, you sweet, sweet man. Thank you for continuing to support me, but also, you have chosen Thin Lizzy again, which I love you for. And I'm certain it's one I've not heard before, but then again, who knows? Today's song by Thin Lizzy is called Johnny the Fox Meets Jimmy the Weed. What a fantastic title. Fantastic. I've got a soft space in my heart for Thin Lizzy. I think that Phil is a really great frontman. He's handsome, he's charismatic, he's a great bassist, and he's got a really delicious voice. And I think if you get a really good front person for a band, you're onto a winner. The rest of the band could be absolute garbage and it wouldn't matter. Just so happens that a lot of bands end up being fabulous as well. But let's get into it. I don't know what to expect. I don't know how to feel. I'm excited. Thank you, Chris. Thin Lizzy, Johnny the Fox Meets Jimmy the Weed. Boop.
Johnny the Fox.
Don't think I've heard Phil sing like that.
He called to Jimmy the Weed. He said, hey man, I know your name. I seen you cruising with the lowriders, hanging out down on First Street and Main, tuning to and listening to the hoodoo rhythm devil.
I have not heard this before.
Around the bay, they got some crazy DJ. Send you right out to heaven.
So handsome. Just casually smoking.
Jim of the weed for greed, he was taken back. John of the fox, you old sly cat. Cleverly the fox conceals his stash. Crisp dollar bills could leave no tracks in the back of a black Cadillac. The voodoo music traveled
Glorious.
down Skid Row, only black men can go. The shady deal unraveled.
Pausing. I don't know what I was expecting. I think because I have memories of like boys are back in town. It's very groovy, a little bit funky, and also there's a different vocal approach. Phil's been a little bit more, not quite rap, but it's a little bit more conversational. I think Phil has a conversational voice anyway, but it feels like he's really trying to enunciate what's going on. I love the way the drums have been recorded, because at several points, because of the way the drums have been recorded, they sound like the drums on Brick House, which I kind of love. I love that certain recording techniques, which were at the time recorded because that was the highest form of technology they had, feel like a wonderful timestamp of an era that you can recapture it. You absolutely can. With recording techniques, there's so many different plugins now. You can go and get the vintage microphones, But I love it. It's like after that fill of the I was expecting the ba. Yeah, I really like it. It's definitely not what I would expect from a Thin Lizzy, but I'm enjoying it. Let's keep going.
But just the snow.
He's so charismatic. Still got a fag in his hand.
John of the fox had to hustle. Jim of the weed, you won't use no muscle. That cat's so sly, slick and subtle. John of the fox breaks out the bottle. Tuned into and listening to the voodoo music travel. The beating drum for the lonely one. Send you right out to heaven. Right out to heaven.
Pausing. There's points, and it's happened in the other Thin Lizzy songs that I've heard, is that Phil doubles his own voice and he sings his own harmony. I'm going to say something that might be controversial, because you know me, I like to be a little bit controversial. I think that Phil's voice I like Phil's voice, I do. I think when he's singing harmony for himself, the harmony's never quite right. But what's right? Do you know what I mean? It's in tune to the harmony, but there's always something just a little bit off about it. It feels very characteristic of Phil to have those harmonies that are either unison, he's just either singing in unison, or the harmony that he has just feels that ever so slightly bit off. I will forgive him everything because he is Phil, and Thin Lizzy are just such a wonderfully nostalgic band. This is super chilled out, this is super groovy, this is super like, let's all just like sit in the back garden in the sun and drink beer and not think about our problems. I like it a lot. It's very, Chris did say, he's like, I think it's a bit of a deep cut. I love a deep cut because you get to see a bigger picture of that act and stuff that they did that you think, why did you do that? I support it, but what? Yeah, I don't know, and I love a deep cut. I do love that there's a lot of different Thin Lizzy songs that are recorded music video wise in this kind of way, where it's just them on a stage, I wonder if that was a conscious decision. Like, I do remember watching a couple of different videos about Phil Lynott and how he was a very mostly introverted person. Like, he was charismatic, but he was more sort of like kept to himself for things. I wonder if this is a deliberate thing they did because the idea of doing big, huge theatrical music videos felt a bit inauthentic or uncomfortable. I'll have to go and find that one out, but that's an interesting one. Let's keep going. Boop. Oh, okay, that's it. I love the very far in the background solo. The solo that was so far back in the mix that he was maybe in the other studio down the street. Yeah, really groovy, very chill, very sort of like, let's just hang out guys, don't worry about it. So I also wanted to look up what the song was about because it had such a fabulous title. And I'm on songbar.com. The Fox is the notorious 1920s Italian Chicago gangster Johnny Torrio. In many ways the original Godfather, who was a mentor to Al Capone, who took over after an assassination attempt, and also put forward the idea of national crime syndicate. In this song, the band set up a fantasy scenario of him meeting legendary Manchester club and pub scene gangster Jemmy the Weed Donnelly, something of a character in the Northern West, who was a key figure in the Quality Street gang in the 1970s and 80s, and the police scandal stalker affair. Unusual for their men of their profile, Johnny and Jimmy managed to not get killed in their careers and later retired to a life of straight living. That's really interesting. I've talked about it here on before. I fully support anyone writing about something they weren't directly personally connected with because I think it can yield really wonderful results. And it's quite groovy that they've written this song about gangsters from Manchester. I think some of those 70s gangsters, some of the stories about them are just wild. Wild. What a lovely little discovery. Thank you so much, Chris. You're sweet and I love you. Thank you to all of you who've been commenting, suggesting things. Do know that I will try and get around everyone's comment. It is going to take me the next 45 years. But also if you've made a suggestion, I have a list. The list, the shopping list is huge. Huge. Thank you as always to my patrons. Until next time, my dudes, go and have a groovy day.